Hi there, my name is Brion Silke. I am submitting my assignment for the second assignment for storytelling through data visualization. So I focused on the history of cybercrime. So the beginning, cybersecurity was quite fundamentally uh, unsophisticated, you could say, where cybersecurity threats were primarily worms or email attachments. There is one attack that I will be discussing in this assignment that was actually, funnily enough, the payload or the the payload was delivered by um, floppy disk inserted into a central server. Um, so as as things became more complex slowly, um, it led to the point of the Morris worm, which was an attack that happened in 1988. Um, Robert Tappan Morris launched his famous Morris worm attack, which was just a Morris. The Morris worm was effectively just a malicious piece of code, and its code is told try and expand and spread as much as you can. And so it primarily focused on the financial institutions around the globe. It was uh, it was a precursor, you could say, to WannaCry, Stuxnet, um, and the other major attack. Um, so there's another one. This is the one I was going to I mentioned earlier. That was delivered via floppy disk. The malware was delivered through a floppy disk, and it was done by a hacktivist group who wanted nuclear proliferation to come to an end. So, as you can see here, the hacktivist group was based out of Australia, and they targeted nuclear facilities. Now, like the Morse worm, worms against nuclear killers also um, became very famous just a year after because it targeted critical infrastructure. You cannot allow nuclear facilities to come offline. It's like that Stuxnet attack that was supposedly a joint operation between Israel and the United States and targeted Iran's nuclear facilities. And it just took their computers offline. I believe it was 100,000 machines infected in 24 hours. But um, that, so the worms against nuclear killers and Moore's worm were the main drivers behind the international governance's responses. So the FBI, the CIA, um, other intelligence agencies, and in fact, a lot of local law enforcement agencies in the United States and England and Ireland and Europe all have their own cybersecurity departments now. The FBI was actually very slow, and so was the CIA actually, to modernize and digitalize because they were actually afraid if they did digitalize, um, it would it would not only affect their field agents but also could, if they were hacked, they believed that it would be devastating, and it would be. However, they also found that the risk of being behind their rivals outweighed their risk of potentially being a victim of a cyber attack. So, um, as as the cybersecurity departments of intelligence agencies grew and became more sophisticated, the attackers slowly started to become sophisticated, more and more sophisticated. But what was happening was um, hackers were starting to get caught more often than not. So hackers were not only facing bigger organizations and bigger threats, but they were also starting to get exposed and caught by these organizations, which led to the rise of um, cyber syndicates, which began to connect attackers, form groups, which meant there was more people for more sophisticated attacks and more resources for those attacks to grow. So I'm going to have to sort of scoot to the end here of this because I'm running out of time. But um, so these are the breaches that have faced the United States. One of the most devastating was in 2009, where 222,500,000 victims had their information like credentials stolen. There was 498 attacks, and obviously in 2014 was the most devastating year for breaches, with 783 breaches, but only 85,600,100 victims of those attacks in the United States. And in Europe, there I just showed the cybersecurity attacks in 2022 to 23. So, Russia, Ukraine, Germany, Italy, France, United Kingdom, Turkey all had a lot of cyber attacks.